I'm going to read The Last Word, written by Thomas Nagel. So I found that I can use YouTube editor, video editor. So after reading each chapter, I can make whole the books readings. Yeah, it's worth reading. Reading is good for learning English, and besides, reading is to get good information and knowledge. Here is a preface, and I'll skip the preface and then go for introduction. Introduction. This discussion will be concerned with an issue that runs through practically every area of inquiry and that has even invaded the general culture. The issue of where understanding and justification come to an end. Do they come to an end with the objective principles whose validity is independent of our point of view, or do they come to an end within our point of view, individual or shared, so that ultimately even the apparently most objective and universal principles derive their validity or authorities from the perspective and practice of those who follow them. My aim is to clarify and explore this question and to try for certain domains of thought to defend what I shall call a rationalist answer against what I shall call a subjectivist one. The issue is in a nutshell. Is whether the first person, singular or plural, is hiding at the bottom of everything we say or think. Reason, if there is such a thing, can serve as a court of appeal not only against the received opinion of our community, but also against the peculiarity of our personal perspective. It is something each individual can find within himself, but at the same time, it has a universal authority. Religion provides mysteriously a way of distancing oneself from common opinion and received practice. It is not a mere elaboration of individuality, not a determination to express one's idiosyncratic self, rather than go along with everyone else. Whoever appears to reason proposed to discover a source of authorities within himself that is not merely personal or societal, but universal, and that should also persuade others who are willing to listen to it. If this description sounds Cartesian or even Platonic, that is no accident. The topic may be ancient and well-known, but is fully alive today is partly because of the prevalence of the various forms of what but not usually is proponent, what's called skepticism about religion, either in general or in some of its instances. The vulgar burden of this skepticism is epidemic in the weaker religions of our culture, but it receives some serious philosophical support as well. I'm prompted to this inquiry partly by the ambient climate of relationalism, but also by not really knowing what more to say after relationalism has been rejected as incoherent. There is a real problem about how such a thing as a reason is possible. How is it possible that creatures like ourselves, supplied with the contingent capacity of a biological species, whose very existence appears to be radically accidental, should have access to universally valid method of objective thought? It is because this question seems unanswerable. Sophisticated forms of subjectivism keep appearing in the philosophical literature. I think they are no more viable than crude subjectivism. To begin with the crude kind, the relativistic qualifier for me or for us has become almost a reflex, and with some vaguely philosophical support. It is often generalized into an interpretation of most deep disagreements of belief or method as due to different frames of reference, forms of thought, practice, or forms of life, between which there is no objective way of judging, only a contest for power. The idea that everything is constructed belongs to the same family, since all justification come to an end with what the people who accept them find acceptable, not in need of further justification, no community, no conclusion, it is thought, can claim validity beyond the community whose acceptance validates. The idea of religion, by contrast, refers to non-local and non-relative method of justification, method that distinguish universally legitimate from illegitimate influence, and that aim at reaching the truth in a non-relative sense. Those methods may fail, but that is their aim and the rational justification, even if they come to an end. So Mayor cannot end with the qualifiers for me if they are to make that claim. The essential characteristics of reasoning is its generality. If I have reason to conclude or to believe or to want or to do something, they cannot be reasons just for me. They would have to justify anyone else doing the same in my place. This leaves often what it is for someone else to be in my place. But I claim that what is the reason for me is not a reason for someone else to draw the same conclusion. Must be backed up by further reasons to show that this affirmative deviation from generality can be accounted for in terms that are themselves general. The generality of reasons means that they apply not only in identical circumstances but also in relevant to similar circumstances, and that what counts as a relevant similarity of difference can be explained by reasons of the same generality. Ideally, the aim is to arrive at principles that are universal and exceptionalist. Reason is to think systematically in ways, and one looking over my shoulder to be able to recognize as correct. It is this generality that relativists and subjectivists deny. When they introduce a simulacrum of it in the form of a condition of consensus among a linguistic or scientific or political community, it is the wrong kind of generality, since at its outer bound it is statistical and rational. Worst of it is that subjectivism is not just an inconsequential intellectual approach or batch of theoretical speak. It is used to deflect the argument or to belittle the pretension of the argument of others' claims. The something is without relativistic qualification true or false, neither wrong, good or bad, risks being delightist as an expression of the parochial perspectivist or form of life, not as a preliminary to showing that they are mistaken whereas something else is right, but as a way of showing that nothing is right, and that instead as we are all expressing our personal or cultural point of view, the actual result has been a growth in already extreme intellectual relations of contemporary culture, corrupts of serious arguments throughout the world, reach over to humanity and social science, literally refusal to take seriously at anything other than first person of all, the objective arguments of others. I'm not going to address myself directly to the manifestations of this attitude, but it's there as a source of irritation in the background. Those I don't seriously hope or work on the question of how reason is possible, it will make relativism any less passionate. Many forms of relativism and subjectivism collapse into either the self-contradiction or vacuity. Self-contradiction because they end up claiming nothing is the case or the backward, because they boil down to the assertion and anything we say or believe is something we say or believe. I think that all general, most strictest forms